In previous episodes, you've seen me chase that Instagram-friendly jazz hip-hop tight drum sound that we're hearing time and time again in modern music, and I've done it in a variety of ways inside Ableton. Today, I wanted to try it with the drum sampler, which I hadn't had much experience with, and I think you're really going to like this. I started off with these sounds. And with the snare in particular, you can hear all of that reverb. It's a very live sound. This is where I took it with the drum sampler. See how tight and poppy that is? That's what I wanted for all of my drums. So starting off with the drum sampler, I dragged my sample in and just took a look at this thing. Obviously we can affect the attack, how long that sample lasts for. We can tune it. And of course we can add our effects, which is its biggest selling point, I think. But I wanted to be able to tune my drums together and be able to play them as a kit. If I duplicated my drum samplers, of course this is great for processing and mixing, but I bet there was a way to be able to play everything together. That's when I remembered that you could drop sounds into a drum rack. So I went about finding acoustic sounds that were way too vast that I wanted to tighten up inside a drum sampler and play all together. The first thing I did was put all of my sounds into a drum rack. Kicks, tambourine, snares, an alternate snare, tom hits, hats, and a little bit of percussion. Some things came really easy, like tightening up the sound of the snare as we just did, and using the alternate snare, which is the same sample, with a different effect, this time the pitch envelope, to create something that was more poppy. When a drummer hits the snare, sometimes he'll play a side stick snare, which creates more of a pop sound. That's when the rim shot hits the snare at the same time the stick hits the center of the skin. This is a more poppy hit than this one. I also noticed in the drum sampler you could filter a one shot and then have the velocity affect how much that drum one shot is filtered. This is great for kick drums. If you play something light on a real drum kit, it's often played more softer, more muted. If you play something harder, you hear more of that hammer sound in the microphone. That would seem like a great addition to apply to the whole kit inside the drum rack. Something else that you'll see me do with a lot of my hi-hats is add this kind of hi-hat realism. When a drummer plays the hi-hat, they're going to unconsciously release some of the pressure on the pedal, and that gives the hi-hat a more open or a more closed sound throughout. So I like to add an LFO to the decay rate of a hi-hat so that over time it becomes a little bit more open. You apply that to the filter and you have some really realistic drums. I wanted to be able to apply that filtering, that bit crush, that decay to all of my drums at the same time. But you have a problem. You don't want to completely filter your hi-hats the same way that you would completely filter the kick drum. So this is the solution I came up with. So I started with my drum rack macros. By the way, if you don't want to follow along, this is all available at the Patreon. So to be able to filter things as one drum kit, one instrument, but allow the one shots to have their individual character, the solution that I came up with was to put each of the drum samplers inside a group. Inside that group, I can map something to a macro and then map that macro so that it has a minimum and maximum setting. That way when I filter the snare, for instance, it's going to move at a different rate to how the kick drum moves. This is at 122 Hertz, and as I increase that, we can go right up to 357, but the snare is at 11.6 kilohertz. So if we were to do that together, what I would do is right-click my decay, for instance, and map it to a free macro inside my instrument rack. That's going to be this one here, macro 4, and then I map that to the drum tightener macro. I'll come over to my snare. It looks like macro 4 is also free. Hit the decay and note 245. I'm going to assign that to macro 4, right-click and assign that to the drum tighten, which then changes this. I want to keep my snare much more decayed or shorter than anything else in my kit. So I'll go map, and then I'll pull down the maximum decay here until I reach that kind of 250 place that I was at before. I can come over to something else like the toms, 451, macro 4, map to drum tighten, and then go map here, and then reduce that maximum space to 450. The position that it's at now works for the kick drum, and as I pull that down, it will work for the other drums respectively. The only thing that I've added at the end here is my analog drum chain. This is something that we made on the channel that you can work alongside with me or just download at the Patreon. And this gives it more of that tape sound. It doesn't affect things too much. It's just a subtle kind of noise. What I think we should do now is maybe create some music alongside this drum groove that I've created and see how it works in the context of music. Before we get to that, I should remind you that this video is sponsored by DistroKid. I release all of my music with DistroKid and currently have releases scheduled with them. I use their promo tools and hyperfollow functions to make sure that my audience can pre-save my music and so that I can properly market my music post-release. If you want to get a discount off your first year, then there's links in the description. Let's get back to the video. So I've got this guitar sample here. And I think what I'll do is just chop it out at this little drum fill. And then maybe just change this up, do a little reverse here. Get rid of that. Same thing over here. I'm not sure we need this part here, so let's get rid of that. And then we'll have something match this. We don't need that. Again, we don't need that. That's really cool. We're going to put something in that space in a little bit. I'm kind of playing the part of an arranger today. I haven't composed anything, but this could be nice. Yeah, we'll have that a couple times. I need to put in some bass. Let's try. Yeah, that's great. I want to add a drone, but I don't want it to be like too overbearing. So maybe I could just take maybe this section or something and just duplicate that up. And then add something like kickstart to like give it a bounce. We'll EQ this real quick. And then add shaper box maybe over kickstart. I don't know. Let's put this before it. Something like that. And then I think it should pitch down. These two can go down an octave. And I think there should still be silence here. Oh, maybe that is too quick. Maybe I should just do quarter notes. Maybe I'll leave it at quarter notes. And then I think I'll add just like a guitar note every now and then, which I think I'll sit here and fade that out. Duplicate it here. That's kind of nice. Maybe I should have it on beat. Maybe there needs to be some vocal stuff. And I think it could just come in the gap. Maybe here. But it's not going to do anything too crazy. I think I'll take some of these chops and pitch them up. Like maybe this one goes down 5 semitones. And then maybe the rest of it goes down like an octave. So it's like... And we'll just move it over here and fade this side in, fade this side in. And then I guess just EQ it. I don't think there'll be a lot of low. Oh, there are quite a few lows. We'll take those out. Easy. And that fade out kind of works with the reverse. So this vocal will work in terms of key. You got me speechless. But it's way too slow. And I don't want to use the whole thing. So I'll use You Got Me Speechless. That's great. For your eye, I know that I need this. I'll use the You Know That I Need This vocal. I'm going to put these in the gaps. You got me speechless. You got me speechless. And I'm just going to kind of match that by that needs to be on the downbeat. You got me speechless. Okay, that one works. Next one. This is, again, needs to be double time. And then, I know that I need this. I know, no needs to fall on the downbeat. I know that I need this. And then that needs to be longer. I know that I need this. Cool, so that'll go. I know that I need this. That's pretty great, actually. So what I'm going to do with this is join it. And something that I've really enjoyed recently, and this is, again, a very Instagram jazz kind of effect, is add in the auto shift. So we add the auto shift. We're going to create our key B minor, just in case, and then use the formant to kind of pitch this differently. So I'll start a little bit down. You got me speechless. You can pull that down more. You got me speechless. Which is really cool. So you just do it to taste, but it'll stay in key. You got me speechless. Oh, that's nice. I think I'll just do that. Cool. A little bit of EQ at the end to get rid of the rumbles. I know that I need this. A little bit of reverb. And we'll take it down in volume, of course. You got me speechless. And the main reason that I wanted to put it in a drum rack is because if there was any levels that were a little bit unruly, I could still open this and look in mixer view and then mix these individually. I know that I need this. Maybe my hats are a little bit loud. I know that I need this. So there we have it, guys. Yet another video where we try and just make those drums sound a little bit more unique and tasteful and tight. Let me know if you're going to use this technique or if you're going to head over to the Patreon and download this tool and the others that were mentioned in the video. Thanks as always for swinging by, and I'll see you next time.